You, Amanda. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Karen Mason, and I'm an Associate Director here at the Office of Aging and Disability Services. Today, in addition to our esteemed presenter, I'm joined by my colleagues from some of our other DHHS offices, the Maine Healthcare Association, and the Maine Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, who have joined forces with us to support nursing facilities through the Quality Improvement Initiative known as QuEST, which stands for Quality, Excellence, Staffing, and Teamwork. And in case you have missed it, or if you need more information on the QuEST partnership, please email odes.nfquality@maine.gov. I think Chelsea will put that in the chat for you. And we're excited to have you all here today. And if you haven't already done so, I think Amanda mentioned this at the beginning of the call. If you could please add your name and the nursing facility you represent in the chat, that would be wonderful. And as a reminder, we're also offering certificates of attendance for licensed administrators attending the call upon request. And if you'd like a certificate of the attendance for this call, please email the odes.nfquality@maine.gov. Again, Chelsea will put that in the chat. And as a reminder, please only submit a request for a certificate if you are a licensed administrator and you attend the entire call. Unfortunately, we can't provide any partial credit certificates. And this meeting is being recorded today. The recording, as well as the slides, will be posted to our rate system reform website, which Chelsea will also drop into the chat for you. Oh, could folks please put themselves on mute? That would be great. Thank you. And the materials will also be added to the SharePoint site, which probably most of you have access to, and will be distributed to the to QuEST members via email as well. And if you're not already receiving QuEST updates, again, please use that odes.nfquality@maine.gov site to make that request. So our goal today is to share information, but also to hear from you, our local experts, in some of the best practices that you're implementing. So we will leave 15 minutes or so at the end so we can hear more from you. So without further ado, I would like to present our presenter today, Michelle Daniel. Michelle is the president and CEO of the Eden Alternative, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the well-being of elders and their care partners by transforming the communities in which they live and work. She has worked in the long-term care field since 1995 and has experienced in skilled nursing homes, assisted living centers, and ICF/IID campuses in Mississippi, Texas, Tennessee, and Louisiana. Michelle holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology, a Master of Health Administration, and a licensed nursing home administrator. Michelle has led her peers in long-term care and exploring culture change, and is an Eden Alternative educator, Eden Alternative mentor, and an Eden Path to Mastery guide. Michelle is an international speaker on culture change in healthcare and person-directed care, and she currently serves on the United Methodist Association board. Michelle is also a wife, a proud mother of 2 children, Joseph and Mackenzie, proud community volunteer, and a Scoutmaster, where she teaches young men and women life and leadership skills. And I'm going to pass it over to Michelle.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen. And thank you, Amanda, for having me today. I'm going to go ahead and share the PowerPoint with you guys. Just one moment, and we'll start it from here. All right. Everybody good? Everybody can see that okay? Perfect. All right. Well, you guys, thanks again for having me today. Again, Michelle Daniel is my name. I have been in elder care since 1995. As you heard, I started in activities. And so I am a recovering bingo hostage taker, and I adore the good people in life enrichment programs and feel such a connection. Yes, Amanda.
Michelle, I'm so sorry to interrupt. The view of your slides is a little bit off.
Hmm, I don't know.
I don't know if it's presenter view.
I don't know.
What we're seeing is several slides at the bottom, Michelle,
Okay,
and then a smaller slide to the right.
better.
There you go. That looks better.
Okay, super. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah. Recovering bingo hostage taker, love activities. And although I don't work at a place any longer, I support so many incredible home health, assisted living, skilled nursing, hospice groups. I get to do things like earlier today, I went to the side-by-side ministry of my church and got to hang out with individuals living with dementia. And I got to break out my old activity director skills. And so we did laughter. I read dad jokes, and then we did a laugh exercise. So I'm a little bit hoarse from that, and I'm hoping to get through all of this. But it is so important to have meaningful engagement. So know that although Eden educator and was out in the field for a very long time, my heart is with the good people who serve older adults wherever they may live. All right, so the Eden Alternative, just to share with you guys our mission, vision, and values. Many of you know Eden Alternative from many years ago. We've been around for 30 years, 30 plus years. So our mission is to improve the well-being, and that term gets used a lot, and that's very, very important. Well-being of elders and their care partners by transforming the communities in which they live and work. So this is from home health throughout the spectrum of elder care, where many years it's been assumed that the Eden Alternative only takes care of those who live in skilled nursing. That is true, but we take care of so many other folks by just supporting with education and consultation. Our vision is to eliminate loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. And if you know us from many years ago, we call those the plagues of institutional elder care. Well, truth be told, you guys, these are plagues of humanity. And so we want to eliminate those wherever people are, including those of us who work, our families, etc. Our values, innovation, integrity, community, empowerment, and passion. We don't have time to go through all those today, but we will talk about empowerment some in our time together. All right. So moving to the next slide, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the institutional mindset. Particularly since COVID, this last 5 years, we may have had an organization that was really rich in culture and innovation and intergenerational programs and gardening and all these wonderful, amazing things. And then COVID hit and we institutionalized very, very quickly. And so I knew elders who literally ate in a styrofoam clamshell over 365 days, 3 times a day. So we can imagine eating in a styrofoam clamshell and what that does, how much food is for socialization, what that meant to us. So imagine being in a 20 by 10 room and you're with a roommate that you may or may not care for. And maybe some of us felt that when we were at home, but that was really tough, particularly with folks that had roommates. So there was a lot of loneliness. There was a lot of boredom. There was a lot of helplessness. And you guys, it wasn't just elders. It was all of us were experiencing these things. So back in the day when it was, these are the plagues of institutional elder care, truth be told, these are the plagues of humanity, and there's no medication for these. So the institutional mindset, it only being about the business, it only being about efficiency, is one that is not healthy for us to grow. So then we go into that person-centered mindset, and this has been around for many, many years in the 1990s, the IDD world, the individuals with developmental disabilities, everything was person-centered. And then elder care kind of picked that up in the early 2000s. So although good, I want to challenge us to go further than person-centered mindset. So what does that look like? Person-directed? Is the person at the table? Is the person part of their care plan meeting? Is the person have their voice heard? And if they don't have a way to communicate, is the care partner that knows them best at the care plan meeting? You guys, I've read a lot of charts, and I was a legal medical consultant, if you want to call it a side hustle, but it was just something I did on the side because I didn't have any children. My husband was deployed at the time, so hey, I had all kinds of free time. And so I would read medical records and report back to attorneys, one way or another. And so I noticed how many elders were labeled and negatively labeled, non-compliant, combative, refused care. And you guys, if we don't share what a care plan is with somebody, how can we label them non-compliant if they don't even know what the plan is? So I encourage us to bring that person, have them be part of the table, bring them at the table with the wonderful people, the experts that can surround them and get their hopes and goals reached. If any of you are going to Leading Age in Boston in a couple of weeks, I will be speaking with a person who lives with dementia specifically about I'm at the head of my table and how to empower persons living with dementia in their care planning. All right, so then there's a well-being mindset, and you guys probably think, holy moly, this is super, super chaotic. Look at all those arrows. There's no real rhyme or reason. But you guys, if you probably put a sticker on every single person you talk to, and they put another color sticker on all the people they talk to, and then they put all the stickers and all the colors of the stickers of all the humans that we talk to in any given day, you'd probably go, this is simple compared to all of the communication we have. But a well-being mindset is we are working collaboratively to make sure everyone involved has well-being. And that is the ultimate goal, is well-being. So the Eden Alternative provides tools to shift in 5 key paradigms. And we don't have the time to go through all of these in depth today, but I do want to just kind of brush over these. Mindset. We do have to have a paradigm shift of I'm in charge, I need to tell them what to do, to empowerment of elders. Mindset shifts of she has dementia, she doesn't know any better. Well, she knows something about her life. Where can we meet her where she is versus taking over, right? So it's about that balance and changing our mindset, that person, that personal transformation has to happen first in the culture change movement. Our language, you guys, being a nursing home administrator for so many years, we can get really relaxed on the words that we use. Is 219 taken care of yet? Well, that's not her name. How many Part A's do we have? Well, these are individuals receiving therapy. And what happens is we start using very efficient language, and before we know it, we've diminished individuals, and elders start using the terms. Have you ever heard this? Where elders will start using the terms that we use? Oh, I'm a Part A right now. I'm not getting Part B. I'll get Part B at the end of the week when my days are up. Right? Elders start talking in terms that we use, and this is not normal language, right? And so we want language that honors and respects. The Eden Alternative teaches about the word elder. But if an elder does not want to be called elder, what do they want to be called? If they want to be called Bob, call them Bob. If they want to be called a resident, it's resident. I would deter away from patients, because patients are sick people, and we want individuals to live their best life. Relationships. Many times, you all, we forsake the relationship for the task because we are so task driven in our field, and that is not a criticism. It's a reality. And so how do we create a space where that team member knows the elder and knows them well, where there's a successful journey with that person's care? And that's really important. our practices. What do our practices look like? What are the things that we do? Do we eat at a specific time and nobody's allowed to vary from that? Do we, when people pass away, do they go out the back door? Do they go out the front door? You know, what kind of practices? Are there celebration practices? Are there, you know, what are the things that make the place tick? I remember early in my culture change journey, this is probably 2005, 6, 7, somewhere in there. I talked with some elders about the death and dying process and how were we doing. I felt like we were doing pretty good. And they said, you only take trash out the back door. And I felt like I had been kicked in the gut. These are people I love, and I had no idea that's how they felt. We thought we were protecting them. We thought we were making it easier for them, where they would go to lunch and we would escort the individual very quietly down the hallway. They said, no, this is our friend. We may not go to the funeral. We want to be able to be a part of. And so we started having an honor guard where elders who wanted to say goodbye to their friend would line up at the front door and wish them well, right? And then there was the making of the palms. And so elders would make blankets and put them instead of the funeral home blanket or over the body bag. They have a like a felt or a velvet kind of throw, is to have one that was made of love and prayer that covered that person. And then it gets folded up and handed to the family because their loved one was cared for by their friends. So there's practices, y'all, that can be sacred practices or they can be cold and sterile practices. I appreciate medical, and we have to watch cross-contamination, but there's so many things we do behaviorally that the practice could be integrated with what elders are desiring, right? And it doesn't cost any money to do the difference, right? And then what are our systems? Our therapy routines, our dining routines, our showering routines, all of those things, those systems in place tend to silo our team, tend to silo elders and pull us from each other. So to truly transform, we have to consider our systems, and are we living our best life and getting medication and food and therapy, or are those things driving our day? Is that system driving our day? All right, so we're going to have a poll on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the worst and 10 is the best. Where does communication in our organization fall? So I want to talk more about communication with you guys. So if you could, and we're not going to track this down, so it's totally safe to put your real answer here, but how do we feel like we're doing? Are we at number 10? We're the best communicators in the whole wide world. Are we a 1? We don't know what's going on. Left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. What is communication in your organization? And Amanda's going to start that poll for us. So you guys go ahead and tell me where your communication in your organization falls.
If that poll question is up, we'll leave it up for about 10 more seconds.
Do I need to stop share so that you can show that poll, or is it?
I don't think so. Can everybody see the poll?
Yes, it came up.
Okay.
I don't, but that's okay. I will scroll to see it.
Okay, I am going to end that. We've got 88% of people responding. And here are the results.
Perfect. All right. So mid-level, doing pretty okay. Got 18% at 8s. I think we can all say that we probably all could improve, right? We're not terrible communicators. We actually feel many times like we over communicate. I feel like that's also fair to say. But are those meetings what we need them to be? Are we meeting to be meeting? You know what I mean? Have you ever heard the phrase death by meetings? Do you ever feel like that's your feel of the day, is I could actually get my work done if we weren't meeting all the time, right? Or that 1 hour meeting could have really been 15 minutes. Does anyone have that feeling sometimes? You don't have to raise your hand. But yes, sometimes, you guys, communication could be a huddle. How many of you all are familiar with huddles? I'm going to kind of scan you guys. You're all at the top. huddles? Some? Yeah? I see some hands. Yeah? Great. So I have been part of 4 organizations that have been part of transformation with the Eden Alternative. And so I think huddles are very important. Huddles can't be for everything. But I think it's very important that we acknowledge what huddles could do. I still have a hand up and I'm not 100% sure how to put my own hand down. There we go. Lower the hand, just so that's not distracting for you all. All right, so a great way to get team members involved is a huddle. So much like in sports, same thing. So we're going to go over that about creating an empowered culture of care with huddles. All right, so there's 5 types of huddles that we have. The first is strengthening culture. The second would be change of shift. The third, celebration, shout out. 4th, root cause analysis. And 5, relationship building. So let's dive into those. Strengthening culture, and I apologize, there's a lot on this slide here. This is a huddle that reminds teams about the person-directed approach. So let's make sure Miss So-and-so's voice is heard. This is kind of a process coach part, right? We could chat about the language or how we're speaking about strengths or possibilities. You guys, we are very, very deficit focused because we know we have to slide in where the deficit is. So we're very deficit focused. But what are the retained abilities of an elder? Is she able to dress herself? Why are we dressing her? Is he able to feed himself? Why are we feeding him? You know, is he able to go to the dining room with a walker, or are we wheeling him in a wheelchair? So what are the things that we are focused on a person's strength, where we're meeting them where they're at? Provides an opportunity to talk about the Eden Alternative domains of well-being. Also the 10 principles, and we can go over those if we have time. The topics could be about how to change approaches, provide support. And also we want to make sure that we're empowering elders and doing what they need versus what's best for staff convenience. I truly believe that everyone in this field comes to it, maybe not are currently in it for this reason, but came to elder care because somebody in their life made a difference. If that was their grandma, if that was their great aunt, if it was Uncle so-and-so, there is somebody in every one of our lives that brought us to elder care. And it's meaningful, and maybe it's out of a situation of advocacy because maybe that person wasn't taken very good care of. And so we want to ensure that the next person gets well cared for, or maybe it was because we loved them so much and they loved us so much that we want to share that love with other people. But there is a reason I would gander that every human being on this call is in this field because somebody that was an older adult made a difference in your life. So how do we make sure that we are focused on them and not on efficiency or staff convenience? I think that it's unfair to say that generally speaking, in our field, people are lazy. I think that's absolutely unfair. If we get into the shoes of a housekeeper, or if we get into the shoes of a direct care worker, whether Shabazz or CNA or an RA, and we do their job for one day, we will realize that this is not the work of a lazy person. This is a lot of heavy lifting. This is a very big job, and we can't allow ourselves to get cynical as leaders. All right, so change of shift, pretty self-explanatory, but the purpose of this huddle is to pass information on. You guys, how many times is somebody changed from the beginning of a shift to the end of a shift? From the morning to the evening. If this individual, had a cough, but now it's a really bad cough with a rattle. If this person was very, vibrant earlier in the shift, and now they seem a bit, aloof or unresponsive. There could be a lot of things that happen from the beginning of a shift to the end of a shift. There could also be a medication change. There could be any number of things. And I know that we're supposed to share that information, but sometimes if we're honest about it, when team members don't get along, or get frustrated with each other, there may not be the handing over of information. She left before I got here, or she wrote things down and left, right? Sometimes we don't actually talk face to face and share information, and we're supposed to, but it doesn't always happen. I'll just put it that way. It does not always happen. So having a huddle so that we know the torch that we carry that the last group had, we can best care partner with elders at that time. So we want to make sure of that. Nursing team, along with dining, housekeeping, clinical support, can be present for this. If a social worker is needed, if an individual is going out to the hospital, if an individual has an appointment that day, all of these things matter. If we don't communicate that an elder needs to be, dressed and ready at 7 a.m. with a to-go bag of breakfast items, why would we be angry if they weren't ready? Because we didn't hand that information over. So we've got to hand the information over to be the best possible care partner team that we can be. And a lot of times we're trying to be the best individual we can be, but we don't always give each other the grace and mercy that we potentially need, right? We know how frustrating it is when we don't get all of the information. So change of shift is a must for a huddle. All right, and so celebrations and shout outs. Y'all, we're in such a punitive world in elder care where it seems like, the surveyor teams can only give deficiencies. It's hard when good work is not feeling like it's rewarded. And that's just not within the boundaries of what a survey team would do. But we want to make sure that we celebrate. And you guys, we are so problem focused, and we may leave the day and be aggravated because these 3 things went wrong. And you guys, we're never going to be perfect. But if we're angry about the 3 things that went wrong, did we stop to think about the 97 things that went well? And we don't oftentimes share our celebrations with each other. We might share celebrations maybe with a group of people that we get along with really well, but do we stop for a moment and say, I really appreciate you coming in early today because I had the appointment and you honored that, and if I can help you out, I'll be happy to. Do we celebrate an employee who's new, that's learning new tasks and getting to know elders well? So we want to take a moment and celebrate. Does anyone have like a good job cheer or anything? Does anyone do that? I'm just going to look real quick for hands. Does anyone on the call do any sort of cheers or celebrations? I see one hand. Would somebody like to share something that they do to celebrate with their team, like in a huddle or something, some way of celebrations?
I know a lot of people on this call, and I know that you all do a lot of things to celebrate wins in your teams. Don't be shy.
Hi, this is
Hi,
Maria
I'm
Barney.
calling
I'm
from-
the administrator at Duville
sorry.
Pavilion. When we do a celebration, we do it, food is always good, right? So we do a potluck, and it will be the whole building. It will be every department will participate. They will bring different types of food. Sometimes it's even, if we have Filipino nurses, they'll bring Filipino dishes. So it's really a welcoming, and every little thing we celebrate. And I think that's the big thing. It doesn't have to be the big wins. It's those little wins that makes everything goes well with the staff, and truly, and we always involve the residents or the patients as well. So
Awesome.
that's what we do at Duville Pavilion.
I love that. I love that. It is, and you said it. It's the small triumphs. It's those little things. But you guys, when people celebrate each other, they feel seen, and that is so important that team members feel seen. I see Kate Good. Kate, what do you guys do to celebrate?
Yeah, at Glenridge, we start every single meeting with wins so that we start them all on a positive note.
Fantastic. Do you guys ever do like the positivity sandwich where it's like the good thing, deal with whatever you have to deal with, and then end on a positive note? That's good psychology. Just throwing that out there. So maybe save an extra win for the end, right? Good. Amanda, did I see your hand? No? maybe?
Oh, I was just clapping.
Oh, good.
But there's some great stuff in the chat too. We have a couple of people that mentioned that they do leading with heart. I don't know if anybody's brave enough to come off mute. Maybe Laura?
Yeah. So with leading with the heart, each week or people will write something with different like compliments or what they've done to achieve in the week or the month or whatever. And we recognize them each week, and they get swag for it. Quarterly they get each name is put into a drawing for a $500 bonus basically, and then yearly it's a $10,000 throughout Genesis, so for each market.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Here at, I'm from Brentwood, so we do celebrations for our new employees, 30, 60, 90 days of employment, where we'll have food and we'll have little gift bags for them just so we can support them. And, I mean, it's all about retention and making them feel comfortable. We also send cards to all the staff. We mail them to their homes for their birthdays or different things events that might be happening in their lives. So they get a card from home.
That's fantastic. I love that. You guys, I hate to say it out loud, but here's the truth of it. We've not seen the worst of the workforce crisis in our field. I just don't believe it, because we have a rapidly growing, aging society, and the workforce is declining. And we have not seen the worst of this crisis. If we do not take care of the good people that are care partnering every single day, they're going to go somewhere else, and it might not even be in this field. And we have to take good care of these individuals. The Eden Alternative Golden Rule says, as management does unto staff, so shall staff do unto elders. And so if we see the team members, if we nourish them, if we see them as individuals and celebrate that, if we celebrate those small wins, the team is going to turn around and do the same for elders. But if everything's punitive, you did this wrong, you didn't do that right, you didn't do this wrong, y'all, that's when you have all the complaints about the elders. And so we want to make sure that we are celebrating and nourishing our team, because they will do the same for elders that they're care partnering with. It's just human nature. And so how can we nourish people? And part of it is just taking a moment. Again, remember, this is just a huddle. This is less than 10-minute meeting, but calling somebody out saying, I want you guys to know that I saw so-and-so today helping Miss so-and-so out of the car, and she did such a beautiful job, and the elder felt so comfortable even though she had anxiety about going out. She hadn't been out in a while, etc., right? Just saying I see you and the good work that you do is so important. And we're going to stop leaving work focused on those 3 problems, because you guys will always have problems. We won't be focused on the 3 problems. We're going to celebrate on the 97 great things that happened that day. And we had a couple problems. So it helps our day too. And I hope that you have those days when you leave work and you crank up your jam and you're heading home going, today was a good day. And that has a lot to do with those celebrations and shout outs, because it starts to reciprocate. And you guys, it just pays forward over and over again, people seeing what's going right in the world. So I just wanted to encourage us here. All right. So root cause analysis huddle. So this would be a quick moment where we have a concern, a situation. Mr. So-and-so just yelled at Miss So-and-so. There's a something has occurred, right? It would involve those with information about the event and make sure the team has what they need to identify the why of how and how behind the root cause situation. Has anyone ever heard of the 5 whys? Yeah. So you ask, like, Mr. So-and-so yelled. Why? He was angry. Why? Because his food was cold. Why? Because we didn't get it out to him in time. Why? Well, we were short-staffed in the kitchen. Why? Right? You can get very quickly to the root cause when you utilize the 5 whys. Some people get very aggravated with the whys, like, I don't want to get to that, but it really does peel that onion very, very quickly to the root cause. I also encourage you to use the 7 domains of well-being as a root cause tool. Does that person have connectedness? Does that person have meaning? Does that person have autonomy? Are they choosing things for themselves? Does that person have growth? Does that person have security? Does that person have joy? Right? I mean, all those things are so important for us to have. And if we don't have well-being, what's the root cause of why we don't have that, right? So, but I wanted to share with you guys a brief story about a root cause analysis that you could probably imagine where you work, this could occur. So we had an elder who she was not acting herself. We decided to get a urine catch, so we put a nun's cap in the commode, and it had been about 7 hours, close to 8 hours, where nothing was in that nun's cap. And so the nurses were very concerned. She had not voided. If you don't void in 8 hours, you need to go out for a Foley catheter and urinalysis and all these things. We were about to call 911 to have the emergency vehicle come and get her, all of these things. And so we're huddled. It's me, the administrator, director of nurses, the LPN, the CNA. We thought we had all the right people in this huddle. And we're all trying to figure out what's going on with Miss So-and-so. This doesn't seem normal. And the housekeeper walks by and she says, "Do y'all know what's going on with Miss So-and-so? She's urinated in the trash can 3 times today, and I just keep cleaning it up." Well, when we had gone into the room, we didn't see urine in the trash can because the housekeeper was very attentive, and that was wonderful. But we almost sent the elder out around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She would have gone to the hospital. She would have gotten a Foley catheter. She would have gotten a urinalysis there, probably an IV for good measure, probably sent back, let's guess, around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, had a very disturbed night of sleep, and tomorrow she's not herself. So what are we going to say? Well, she's still not herself, right? And so all of these things happened because we had not taken the time to tell an individual with dementia that we need a urine sample. And so we're going to put this in your commode, and it is okay to go to the restroom in this, because we asked the elder why she was going to the restroom in the garbage can. And she said, "Well, I didn't want to urinate on the really clean thing that the nurse had put in the toilet." She didn't know what it was, and she didn't know why it was there. And because we hadn't brought the elder in, because we didn't consider that the housekeeper had any say-so, we could have really missed something and put an elder through a lot that she didn't need to go through. And when we asked the 5 whys, we realized that there was a change in the shift. There was a change in the employees that were assigned to her, and her favorite CNA had been moved somewhere else, and she was missing the attentiveness of that employee. It had nothing to do with her urine, you guys. So it had everything to do with having that root cause analysis huddle, asking the 5 whys, and we learned we need to have the right people in the huddle. So it's very quick to come to a solution, and we were like, oh my gosh, now we know. And so we saved her a lot of stress and strain. Maybe we saved Medicare some money, and gave better delivery of care that day because we had a 10-minute huddle. All right, and then relationship building. This type of huddle is meant for improving and deepening relationships between team members. You guys, we have good people that work in this field, and many times we know each other's names, but we don't know a lot of each other's stories. It could be a simple question of, what is one thing that would make your day? You guys, when we talk about simple pleasures, if we know that a Diet Coke is going to make that person's day better, then giving them a Diet Coke on a tough day might just make their day better, right? It's not a lot about money. It's about how we can support each other as a team. If we know someone does not like being called out publicly, even for good things, then we slip them a note that says, "I saw what you did and you're amazing," right? So how can we honor people the best way that we possibly can? Now, I mentioned the Eden Golden Rule earlier. But I have heard about the platinum rule. Have you guys heard of the platinum rule? So the platinum rule is about do unto others as they'd have done unto themselves. And so loving a person the way they want to be loved is very important. So knowing what it is important to an employee, knowing what is important to coworkers, it could be a stickler for you have to be here on time. And if we're always late for that person, we've lost their respect. We've lost their willingness to work with us, right? If we know somebody loves coffee a certain way and we're filling up our own coffee cup, getting them a cup of coffee could make a difference of a good day versus a bad day for an employee, right? For a team member. And, I think that's really important that we're mindful of that. You guys, I worked with a lady, she was an RA. She had worked with us for many, many years, and she was a very private person. And it was very odd to me. She seemed like she genuinely cared about the elders, but there were times where she flat out refused to take care of elders. Like, I'm not going to do that. Very serious, and it seems very odd. And somebody would typically move in and say, oh, I'll take care of it. It's no big deal. And I thought, this is really odd. I really want to get to the bottom of this. So I asked her if she had time that day to please come talk to me. I just wanted to address something with her. I'm really big about public praise and private conversations about any concerns because I don't like public humiliation. Nobody does. And so she came into the office and I said, I've got a question. I've known you for years and you're just a beautiful person and you do so many amazing things around here. But from time to time, you absolutely put your foot down and refuse to do certain tasks. And I'm just curious why, because it doesn't seem to sync with who you seem to be. And she said, well, what you don't know is I have a special needs daughter who's in her 30s. And if I pull my back, then I can't take care of my own child. And she's going to have to go into a facility. And my husband's not well. And I know that this is my only way to pay our bills because my husband's home on disability. And if I can be here as an RA, then I have certain limitations. That's why I'm not a CNA, because I'm with assisted living and there are limitations on what RAs can do. So that's why this job worked best for me. And so she explained that she used to be a CNA and she knew that there were certain risks with her back. And that's why she would refuse certain things, because she was afraid that if she got hurt, she couldn't take care of her household. Understanding that, we could rearrange how we care partnered together. And instead of asking her to take a risk, which is a safety risk anyway, that we wouldn't do that. And we would honor that she was taking care of a special needs daughter. Fast forward, she got to be really in sync with the team now that they knew there was a deeper level of empathy. It wasn't that she was mean and refused care because she was unwilling. It had everything to do with the fact that she was willing and able to help out as much as she can at work, but she also knew that when she got home, she was care partnering with her husband and her daughter. Her husband did pass away and she did retire because she needed to be a full-time care partner to her daughter. But the team surrounded her and had a beautiful retirement party for her. And she still from time to time will come by and volunteer. But it had everything to be with about being well known and relationship building with her and understanding that although we had known her for years, there was a sacred place that we didn't know that we could accommodate what her needs were. Again, with relationship building, if problem solving or celebrating is involved, root cause analysis is to determine why something happened or was it successful. You guys, root cause analysis isn't always about problems. Like, what went right today? How did that happen? Because we haven't had that result yet. What did we do that led to that really great day? Why is Miss So-and-so smiling from ear to ear when normally she's cussing and swearing at us? What happened that went right that we can duplicate this again, right? Brainstorming, huddling to brainstorm. You guys, when we're in survival mode, we're not brainstorming. We're not being creative. But when we're creative, that's when we can solve problems, and that's how we can sustain those moments of joy with elders and team. Action planning. To determine who will do what when, right? what's going to work, who's got the bandwidth, who's got the talent set. And that's very important that we do that. If planning for the day is involved, the oncoming care partner team discusses about how to set themselves up for success for the day with the elders and residents. So if there's a party going on that day, did the evening shift help out and decorate the room, or is it all on the day shift to decorate, have the party, clean up, and get ready in time for dinner? You guys, like, we can care partner. I knew a team member who worked the night shift, and she loved decorating. And so she would decorate many times with elders at night. Those that were night owls, they would decorate Christmas trees, and they would decorate different things, get ready for the party, put banners up. And she loved that because she mentioned at some team building exercise that her favorite time of year was Christmas because she loved decorating all the boxes. And the activity director was like, well, I got stuff you could decorate. Well, next thing you know, we started action planning and creating. And she loved decorating for the parties because she said when she saw the Facebook pictures of the parties, she knew she had a part in it. And that was her way of passively loving the group of people. Imagine that if we had the activity director who had a room that was decorated for her, that she didn't have to decorate, event plan and event happenings, right? And then clean up at a deadline, right? There's so much stress with the big events, right? So relationship building goes beyond just getting to know one another. It's how we can care partner together. All right, so type in the chat box how you see one of these huddles as being an effective communication tool. Which one of these seems like it syncs with what you're interested in? Which one would be a good huddle for you? Love it. So I'm seeing strengthening culture, change of shift, celebration, shout out, change of shift, celebration, shout out, strengthening, root cause analysis. Do you guys ever feel like it's like changing flat tires? It's like same solution, same results, same problems, same solutions, same results. And it's just like, how do we get out of this crazy vortex of problem solution? And it's not really a solution, it's a solution for now. And it just gets so frustrating. I used to kind of make the joke with the team is, you guys, it's not always about the urine, right? Because our first intervention was a UA pending. And I'd say, you guys, it's not always the urine though, right? Well, let's just do it for good measure. I mean, okay, but let's really dig deep into this and figure this out, right? All right, I see so many. Thank you guys for participating in this. Strengthening culture, shift change, celebration with an exclamation. Awesome. Root cause analysis. Love it. All right. Post-morning meeting huddle. I think it's meeting. Change of shift, root cause analysis, all those good things. Does anyone, I saw a couple hands go up about the people using huddles. Is there anyone on the call that would like to share a story? I'm just going to stop the PowerPoint real quick so I can see you all. Is there anyone who's got a story about a huddle that went well? Put you guys on the spot.
Again, we have some really great huddlers here.
I know
I
that
would love it if you could share your expertise to help the rest of us.
I see somebody who's doing fall huddles. I'm curious. It's trying to find the root cause analysis of a fall.
Hi,
Hi,
it's Omeg Coves Edge.
thank you.
We've actually, we huddle with our staff twice a day. We have 2 hallways. We do 2 huddles on each hallway, 9:15 and then 9:30, and then in the afternoon, 3:15 to 3:30. If you're not out there and on time, they actually generally will come find you. Because we kind of have a scripted, I mean, at this point in time, we've done it for years, so it's kind of memorized. We do the admissions, discharges, room changes. We talk about any falls or any transfers that have gone out. We ask about supplies and equipment, and I learn a lot in that moment. Especially recently, we've had some problems with our total lift and transferring someone. So it's a great time for them to be able to ask if I'll come and help watch a transfer after morning huddles, or they'll plan when they can. But we also ask about if there are any concerns about their residents or from their residents. And then each one would go around like a talking circle, and each staff member has a chance to share anything. So admissions, discharges, education, anything due, open enrollment, things like that. But I think they like the whole process. There's a lot of information packed in a small amount of time. Somebody's required to take notes, and we leave that in a notebook at the nurse's station. Cheryl D, I don't know if you have anything to add to that I have forgotten, but I think it's a good experience. They tend to like that. I like it.
She called me out. I just put a comment in the comment area about using the learning circle, because sometimes we get very bored, we're disengaged when we're talking about quality or goals or things. And I think it's not that we're disengaged, it's just that it's hard to make it exciting and interesting. And by using the learning circle and doing some voting and involving the residents in voting, I think that sort of sparks the team and gets much better engagement. So that's been fun for us.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning a learning circle. I love that. Yeah, so I think it's so important, you guys, that as leaders, we get out of the office and we get, within the team, and we see people and we give a space for their voice to be heard, because there's no way that any human being in any building knows all of the things. And so empowering that team, giving them a voice, we're going to make the best decisions as leaders we possibly can, because we've heard all of the angles. You guys have heard the story about, the bringing 4 blind men to an elephant, right? And so the first one grabs the trunk and says, "Oh, an elephant's like a snake." Not wrong. The next one to the body, "Oh, an elephant is like a smooth wall." Not wrong. The third one to the tail, "Oh, an elephant is just like a rope." Not wrong. And the fourth one to a leg, and he says, "Oh, well, the elephant's much like a tree." Individually, they know exactly what they know. And how many times do we know for sure what happened on a different shift than we were actually on, right? What happened on the weekend? We know exactly what happened on the weekend because we just know, right? But we weren't there. So we probably know part of the elephant, maybe even half the elephant, but we don't know the whole elephant. And so those huddles bring together those viewpoints, and then we see the whole elephant. We go, it's all right. And then that way we know, and we can make the best decisions as a care partner team. And not one of us that's maybe detached, or we know part of it. We don't know what's happening on night shift, or if we work the night shift, do we know what's really happening in the day shift? Right? And so we start to silo ourselves apart. But when we start to talk about the pieces of the elephant, then we can all feel much better about knowing, what we're actually looking at. Okay, so I'm going to get back to, we just have a few slides left, and then we're going to jump into questions and answers. So I'm going to share my computer here. All right, everybody can see that? I think it went back to that viewpoint. Is that the view is better again? Can you guys see that okay?
It's a black screen right now.
Odd. Okay, I'm going to try this again. Sorry. That's what happens when you get out the Zoom and want to see people's faces for a minute. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. Is that better?
We're in business.
Okay, super. Wonderful. All right. Okay. So 5 conditions of empowerment. You guys, I gotta confess to you, and typically when I teach, I confess a lot because I've learned a lot of what I've done wrong in the last 30 years, but I've learned from those mistakes, right? Those were learning opportunities. So I used to delegate and abandon with a smile, and I really thought I was truly empowering people. And I would see these A+ star players, and I would say, I trust you with this idea of mine, and good luck. I'm here for you if you need me. And I genuinely meant that. But what they probably felt was more work, same pay. I don't really feel very appreciated, but anyway, it is what it is, right? And I started noticing the behavior of the team. I'd start coming down the hallway and say, hey guys, how's it going? And it was like, oh gosh, here she comes again, right? People would kind of shrink away from me, and I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm trusting them with all of these ideas, and I'm empowering them because I believe in them. So be it. But I wasn't using 5 conditions of empowerment by any means, mainly because the Eden Alternative wasn't teaching this at that time. But I have learned this. So 1, does the person, the individual, the elder, or the team member know what we're asking them to do or not, right? Excuse me 1 second. I had somebody at the front door who was bringing Robitussin to my sick child, and she needed my ID. Pardon me. Nothing like multitasking, you guys, right? Okay, so 5 conditions of empowerment. Knowledge. Do we know what we're being asked to do? A lot of times we think we're empowering elders. We think we're empowering team members. Do they even know what they're being asked to do? I trust you with this, we say, and we believe that. And they're like, I've got so many questions, but I'm afraid to ask, right? And that when we don't know what we're being asked to do, what are we supposed to do? We kind of just like, fake it till we make it. But that's an uncomfortable thing for most of us, right? So what's the information? Information are those parameters. Where do I go and where does somebody else start? Because am I taking over the whole project, or I'm just doing a piece of that project? I'm not really sure. And y'all, this is when people start to feel like they're being set up for failure. Is she tricking me? Is she just giving me things so that I fail at my job? I thought she liked me, but now I'm starting to wonder if she's just giving me tasks and being vague about it. And then I'm going to get fired over this. And you guys, there starts to be this scarcity mentality, and people get very fearful of their jobs when they don't actually know what their parameters are, right? Training and skills. If we ask somebody, you're so great at this culture change stuff, we'd like for you to start teaching this here at ABC Nursing Home. And I'm a great student, but am I a good teacher? I don't know. Have we sent them to be trained? Do they have the skills? Someone might be an A+ student, but not a great teacher. So you guys, how do we get them there? Or have we asked what they want to do that, right? So what is the training and skills that a person needs? It's not always expensive. Sometimes it's building their confidence up and giving them a safe place to learn. You guys, resources, we tend to believe in this field, resources is all about money. And guess what? Sometimes it's human resources. If we've asked Susie Q to do the party planning and then get mad that Susie Q hasn't done her regular tasks, she's not in a situation where she's not working. It's that we've changed her tasks. Have we asked someone else to pick up the baton that got dropped on the floor? You guys, one time I had a situation where I had a nurse that was, on fire for a particular committee that we had, and she had incredible talents. And so I asked her to serve on a committee. What I didn't think about was replacing her at the med cart just in case anyone needed anything, because we scheduled the meeting in between med passes. We thought that we had covered all bases. I heard a commotion down the hallway, and you know what that feels like when we hear a commotion down the hallway. We better get running down the hallway because we know somebody's pretty upset. I heard somebody yelling, and I thought, I don't know that voice. That's a family member. That's not good because she's yelling at the team. And this is a Mississippi thing, and I'm a Mississippi transplant. But she says, I haven't seen nor hair nor hide of an employee in 45 minutes. And I was like, what? And it dawned on me what she meant was the nurse. I said, what do you need to be taken care of? And she says, My mother has been at the doctor's office all morning long, and her pain meds have worn off, and we have been sitting here at this nurse station for 45 minutes. You guys, they got there right when the meeting started. 45 minutes we've waited for pain meds. That was my error. That was a managerial error. I can't go in there and go get that nurse because that would tell her that all she's worth is med pass. So I ran over to the RN office and I said, you guys, I've really messed up. I did not secure that somebody needed to be working this cart or be available, that if an elder needed medication, while nurse so-and-so is in this meeting, I've made a mistake. Can one of you go get the keys from her and get the pain medicine that Miss so-and-so needs? Because I'm not a nurse. I have no business giving somebody pain medication. But what I can do is get the right resources to the people who need them. Because if I'd have gone into that room and said, nurse so-and-so, I really need you to do the job that you're here for, I would have diminished the empowerment. And it's so important that her voice was heard on that committee, right? The next time that committee met, you better believe I had made accommodations for one of the RN supervisors to work her regular job, but be available by the med cart so she could be seen by family and elders in case they needed something, a PRN medication, pain meds, etc. Right? So I learned that lesson. Supportive environment. How can we as leaders be supportive of those who are trying something new? You guys, we're not experts the first time we try something. We are so patient with toddlers and children learning something new. And adults, we give no patience, no grace and mercy. We have to go right out the gate as experts. And that's really not fair. We've got to give ourselves a space to learn something new and sometimes skin our knees and learn the lesson, right? We don't want anyone to get hurt, but what we want is for our team to grow, and to grow, we've got to try something new and to keep going forward. So all 5 of these must be present for proper empowerment to be available. So hopefully I gave you some nuggets there about true empowerment. And then let's get back to the chat box one more time about one thing you can do to make communication better where you work. What is one thing you can do that you've learned today that you can do differently that will make things better where you work? The 5 whys, thank you. Ensuring all departments that will be impacted know the information. Thank you, Deb. Yes. Clarify what's being asked. Yes. Consistency in messaging, empower people, set examples for others. Gosh, you guys are going so fast, it's hard to read them all. The 5 whys, patience, grace, honesty. Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. 5 whys, empowering people. Yes. Make sure people understand the message. Yes. You guys, asking people to parrot what they've heard, like, you know, or even if we're hearing something, do we parrot what other people told us? Am I right to understand that you need me to do X, Y, Z? If you do that with team members, they're going to start doing that with you. And it's not sarcastic. It's that you want to please, and you want to make sure that you're understanding what's being asked of you. Yes. Huddle and 5 whys, clear and respect others. Be sure departments have been communicated with, the entire building being followed up with. Yes, all good things. Fantastic. Yes, elders moving in and moving out. The information gets to CNAs so that their rooms are ready. Yes, we want to welcome people. You guys, we have 9 months to welcome a baby into this world, and we have 72 hours or less to welcome an elder into a community where that is their home. I just want you to give yourself some grace and mercy there. 72 hours, if we're lucky, versus 9 months. And the family expects perfection because there's some guilt there, there's some feelings there. And you guys, I've been a family member and an administrator. So, and by the way, at the same time, my husband's grandmother. So I can assure you, I understand both sides. Yes, being part of the change of shift when possible, talk about activities for the day, resident birthdays. Yes, yes, yes. We want to celebrate all those things. Yes, yes. Wonderful. All right, this is my information, and I'm going to leave this up for just a minute, and then get a chance for us to have some questions and answer. If Amanda wants to facilitate that, or me, however, I'm open for any questions you guys might have.
Yeah, and for anyone that's feverishly trying to write all of this information down, the slides will be distributed and posted on the rate reform site.
Yeah, so just for folks to know that to ask a question aloud or provide a comment, you can just unmute or raise your virtual hand within the React button at the bottom of the screen. And if you're joining by phone, just press *9 to raise or lower your hand and *6 to mute or unmute your line. And if you prefer, you can also just submit your question or comment in the chat function. So let's open it up.
Anybody want to share any reflections on any of the content? Maybe you had something to share that we moved on before you got a chance to come off mute. Anything at all in regards to communication? I can share something in my time as an administrator, and that's use of the word all or everyone. So there's times that I would say, has this been communicated? Who do I need to communicate this with? What can I do to help in my role? Oh, no, everyone's been told. Everybody knows. Everyone? Like, everyone? I mean, everyone here or, yeah, everyone here. Not tonight, though. Okay, so we'll make a plan to communicate tonight. So, like, housekeeping knows. Oh, no, not housekeeping. That's not my problem. Nursing knows. So then when you kind of get down to it, it's like, be careful of the use of everyone and all, because I mean, to communicate something to everyone, it implies that really everyone, and if everyone needs to know, then it probably needs a communication plan to break that down, because that's impossible for one person to do. You all were going crazy in the chat. Who's going to be brave enough to come off of mute and share any other insights, thoughts you have? And like Michelle said, usually the best lessons you learn are from mistakes that you've made. Oh, Deb, I see your hand up.
Hi, I just have a question about the Eden alternative. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Years ago at St. Mary's D'Urville Pavilion, I'm talking like 15 to 20 years ago, we actually did have the Eden alternative in our facility here, and it was wonderful. Kind of faded out, but I'm curious what the changes are now, all these years later, compared to back then.
Yeah, excellent question. Thanks, Deb. And I hope that you guys come back. We have so many educational offerings. We have on-demand education, we have consultation, we have in-person classes, probably what you're familiar with, like the Eden Associate class, Dementia Beyond Drugs, that was written by Dr. Al Power, leadership pathways, things like that. But we also have additional webinars and so forth. We've got some other courses that we're in the middle of production right now. We have a speakers bureau, and I can put that in the chat because we know that a lot of times people need to know a good speaker on culture change. And so I believe you guys had Ruth Minima and Carmen Bowman as speakers recently. They're both on our speakers bureau. So that's certainly there. One of the big differences when in 2020, which I know we were distracted when I was in the field at the time, right? So we were a bit distracted and weren't paying attention to what changed with the Eden alternative, but we went from registry to membership. And in that membership, what we did was we created what's called tracks and practices. And so there's 12 tracks that our members are supposed to have 2 tracks a year. And whether that's leadership, communication, loneliness, helplessness, and boredom, welcoming new employees, etc. There's 12 different tracks. And I can put that membership information in the chat. But the track really guides the team. We're not telling you what to do step 1 through 352, but what we offer is a framework. So a framework of a team that has a goal, but they need help getting there, because you guys, I know what it's like. You go in, you've got a plan for the day, 85 things happen, and you leave and you go, well, I checked one thing off my list, and it's hard to get to the things. And so that the tracks and practices walk the team through reaching their goal. So a lot of times I talk about there's 2 different directions you can go with the two tracks that you would have in a year. I oftentimes say, what are you doing well? Like you guys, the eight on communication, how do you get to a 10? So what are you doing well that it's low-lying fruit that you feel like, hey, we upped our game. This is us 2.0 and we're good, right? It was a very low lift. And then what is that problem? The same thing that we do, the same intervention all the time, and we're just beating our heads against the wall. This is the definition of insanity, right? The same problem, the same solution, the same results, and it's just, why are we surprised that it's not getting any better? And so really getting these tracks and practices to help folks reach their goals. And here's the fun part. Well, it's fun for me anyway. The fun part is you've got the data that says you've done X, Y, Z, you've done this percentage of change, you've gotten these types of results. And you guys, in the state of Tennessee, in the QuILTS program, there's 10 bonus points for Eden members. And so I'd love for that to come to Maine, where we can get bonus points for people that are working on those tracks and turning that data in to the health department so that they could get higher reimbursement for the good work that they're doing. Because y'all, I know you're working hard, and I know you're trying your very best to hit those quality measures and meet people's needs. And so utilizing the Eden alternative to guide us to reach those goals, it's baby step increments, but we're doing it together as a team. Many years ago, there was the gal who had the pretty binder and they did all the things and it was more of a scrapbook. This is data driven, and it has a lot to do with grants. It has a lot to do with reimbursement, and how do we use our data to really reach our goal and capture the story of the hard work that we've done. So that's really good for reporting to boards, reporting to grants, reporting to LTSS. I mean, all of those things. So there's a lot, Deb. If you'd like, email me and we'd be happy to show you just a demo of what we've got to offer.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good. Other questions? It's hard for me to believe 96 people are being quiet.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm one of the DONs at Pinnacle Sanford. Kind of going back on more of a positive note, at first when you were mentioning about like things that we do to kind of uplift our staff, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I do. Or what does anywhere do? I don't know. And then it all started kind of trickling in as I saw some of the other response, and I was like, actually, no, I feel like we have tried. I've tried, at least I know, and used the tools, because I was a CNA for 10 years before I was a nurse, so I get it. And a couple of the things that I really liked about Pinnacle that I saw when I first came here, they have a thank you board down in the employee room, or down by the employee room, where people can like write thank yous to anyone that's helped out or picked up or gone kind of above and beyond. So it's kind of like, as you're punching in, you can read all these wonderful things that are tacked up on the board. And I know that they do like the quarterly employee of the month. I've tried to do things to kind of uplift like the staff. Like during the summertime, I did a couple like hydration stations with snacks and drinks that I kind of brought around. And I feel like during those hot summer days when they were running around and it was warmer in the building, you know, I feel like it really did cool them off and really make them appreciate it. This month I'm doing a boo basket, because I kept seeing it on social media, and I have a lot of young nurses and CNAs here. And it's kind of like a raffle that I'm doing. All clinical staff's going to be in there. And then anyone that's picking up shifts, I'm putting their name in there extra, so they're more likely to like get picked. So I'll pick that at the end of the month, and it's just like a basket with tea and some treats in it. So I mean, there's lots of different things that I think you can do, but I really like the like empowering employees too. I feel like it give people a chance to grow when they're willing to grow. If you see those people and acknowledging them, I think that's how I got to where I am. So all about that, but that's my piece.
Absolutely. I think that you being a CNA to a director of nurses is incredible and probably gives a lot of inspiration to your team. And you're probably the kind of person that you're willing to get in there with them when it's really tough. And that earned so much respect and trust with team, because sometimes you guys, leaders, are not willing to jump in. And the elders need it, the team needs it. And so it's establishing that relationship, it's establishing the trust. And as a non-clinical person, there's plenty of things that I can jump in and do that can assist. I remember a CNA who was on the pet committee, and she was needed in that room. And I could tie shoes and fix remote controls and do all kinds of things. So the CNA on that hallway and I tag teamed, and I could do all of the non-clinical things. And it was the highlight of my month, is to be in it and to just love elders and be there. And it's important that team members have a voice, and the voice is heard and honored, versus just get to what you're saying and then be done with it, right? This is valuable information. And as an administrator, the best decisions I ever made were the ones that the team came to me and said, this is the need, and here's what we think would work. And say, let's go for it. Let's try it. And really listen to people that want to make a difference. So yeah. What other questions, you guys?
Hi, Michelle. This is Marissa at Dewbill Pavilion. Mine is a little bit on the piggyback on what Deb mentioned about our facility. We were eating alternative, and the units that we have names for them. Like one of them was Sparky Doodle Way because of the dog that we had, and then the Margaret. I can't remember, but it was Margaret something. So do they still do that? Do they still name their neighborhood? Margaret's Garden. So do they still name their neighborhood? I'm just curious.
Yes. So what you probably went through what was called the neighborhood guide program.
Yes,
30 modules.
I missed that because I truly enjoyed it.
Yes, but we have it still, and it's called Empowered Teams now. So it's been revamped where it's about team and elder empowerment, but very similar modules, very similar on how neighborhoods should function as a neighborhood versus, F word, facility wide, right? So we want to make sure that and we call it like village wide, right? But so there's times for village wide events, but those more intimate neighborhood happenings, that's more like home, because we don't eat with 30, 60 to 100 people, whatever the number is. We eat with 5 or, a few people. And it's like, how do we make it home versus home-like? And it keeps us from feeling kind of herded to the dining room for the activity and herded back to our rooms, versus real meaningful engagement happening. And so, thank you for mentioning that. We'd love for you to come back. So I did put in there in the chat the membership link. Would love to have you guys sign up for a demo. We'd love to take 30 minutes of your time and kind of show you what's under the hood that's new and different. For most size organizations, it's $395 a year for membership. It's very inexpensive. And once that key is unlocked that door, there's a lot of happenings there. We also understand that we don't have the ability to train everybody with a 3-day training. And so bringing education to the front row team members, we do have an app that the app literally brings education right there to the fingertips of front row team members. And we've broken the education down to micro learning. And so we want folks to, in their hand, have tips and tricks and tools to really best care partner for the elders that they love. Because y'all, many times we feel ill-equipped to whatever the issue is, and we go home and we're frustrated because a person that I loved yelled at me, or the person that I really care about called me a name that really hurt my feelings. So how do we give the person the tools for the approach that they have a successful day and elders are happy and their needs are being met, and we're honoring that. So yes, we've tried very, very hard to shift our education to being very accessible, on demand, in a person's on a phone right there in their palm of their hand, to make a difference. Yeah.
Well,
Amanda, I
thank
know
you
the time
so
is-
much, Michelle. Thank you so much for today's presentation. We so appreciate it. And for all of you for your active participation. It's exciting for us to hold these forums, and sounds like there's a lot of good conversation going, and other people are getting tips as well. So thank you for that. We're just going to wrap up here. I'm going to pass it to Amanda at this point so she can give some updates on the Culture Change Coalition, and then we'll wrap up for this afternoon. Amanda?
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Just a very brief update on the Culture Change Coalition. So we're newly forming a Culture Change Coalition in Maine. We have about 25 members who are very active and engaged. We're still in the very beginning stages. It's never too late to join, but certainly now, if you're interested, drop your email in the chat and just say, I want to join Culture Change. We can include you in the next meeting. We haven't met very many times yet, but we are going to be moving to monthly. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, you can't. That's okay. Many of our homes that are in that did recently complete the Artifacts of Culture Change 2.0, and they selected 3 principles with their teams that they want to adopt and move towards and strive for. So we're getting a little bit of traction, a little bit of movement, and now we're just in the process of deciding on our mission, vision, and values so that we can use that to kind of direct the rest of the structure and development and the framework of what we're going to do next. So like I said, if you're interested in joining, it's completely optional, but we'd love to have you. We've got a lot of representation across the state, but there's always room for more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda. And I think at the top of our session today, we had displayed a survey for folks to consider. So I don't know, Amanda, if that was you or Chelsea, but if we could put that slide back up. So we would appreciate it. If you could please complete the brief survey. And again, this will help us gauge what's going well, what we can improve upon, and so we would greatly appreciate it. You'll notice that QR code on your screen, or if you prefer a link, Chelsea will also add that in the chat before we end today.
This is the slide for today's session specifically, like what we always complete.
Great.
If you miss the QR code at the top of the hour for what we're looking for feedback for 2026, just stay on, and after a couple minutes, I'll put that one up and wait for anybody who still needs it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Amanda. And then just as a reminder, again, today's recording and slides will be posted on the Rate Reform website and also on the SharePoint site by next week. And if you need us to send you a new invitation to the SharePoint, Chelsea will put that contact information in the chat. It's oads.nfquality@maine.gov, but she'll also add that in the chat again, and we can help you out with that. And Again, as always, the materials that are presented today will also be sent in an email to all QuEST members. And we thank you for your participation today, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.